aware of it. That was my first like exposure to it away from my parents.
Yeah, like
you know
to directed to you.
Right. And so going back to the the core values, it's just like, no, I'm not standing for that. So now we have a problem. So I spent, needless to say, a bit of time in the principal's office.
Okay.
And, you know, my parents, it was interesting, looking back on it now, it was interesting then, but my parents would get called, they would take turns calling my mother and my father because they would be at work. They hated calling my father because he would come up there and, just, so why am I here? This kind of thing. And they would tell him the story. So, you mean to tell me you call me away from my job, the only job that I have, to supply, provide for my family, because another student did this, that, or the third to my son, and my son retaliated. And so they would drop it, leave it alone. Same thing with my mom. I mean, this happened a few times. There was these twins, David and Alex. I'll never forget them. Second grade. They were always ribbing at me, going back and forth. You know, white kids, white twins, big boys. One day in the cafeteria, which was in a gym, we had lunch in a gym. It's like the gym, then you have a walkway over here and a walkway over here. There's like two steps and the tables and blah blah blah. So anyway, I'm sitting down or whatever, eating food, and then so they come, over there and they're talking, they're doing the regular thing. Alex goes and says something. Says, "You're a nigger." I said, "You say what?" He said, "You're a nigger." I said, "Okay, here I come, I'm about to show you." So I get up, and then his brother, David, spits in my face. And then, excuse the language, but then that's when all hell broke loose. So, like, I lost it, started beating, started getting into an altercation with David at first, and Alex tries to come around and help him. By this time, like, things have gotten ugly to him. And so, by the time Alex gets over there, I'm handling him. So I beat, end up physically doing damage to these two twins. Oh, and it was very much, it was racially charged. Albeit we're kids at this point, so do we really understand what's going on? No, but there's enough being instilled on both sides of the fence to where we know
that's not accepted.
Yeah, right. Or it is accepted here and it's not accepted here.
Right.
Or this is accepted here and this is not accepted here. It's like the kind of like the entitlement. I can do what I want to do. You can't do anything, and then me, I'm not gonna take that. And I'm gonna show you how I feel about it. So then that got pretty bad, and then again called both my parents up to the school and told them why. He says, well, my master says, well, Lawrence, what did you do? Did you hit him first? I said no. So what happened? I mean, at this point, I'm pretty upset. So like my adrenaline's rushing and I'm upset. So I finally tell the story, tell them how it went down. Then that's when they called, the other kid's parent and their mother. So it's pretty much a testament to living in America as a minority of any sort, mainly, and especially black. It can be pretty ugly at times, depending upon where you are. At least that was my experience. Of course, now everybody thinks that things have changed so much.
And then, this was in the third grade or under the third grade?
That's the second grade.
Wow, that's really crazy. So do you think that socializing with different races and cultures, and I know that you do through your profession, helped you to reduce bias, being though that you had to deal with such racism at a young age, but now like going all over the world and meeting different people, has that helped to like dispel biases or?
I don't know if I can say it would help me dispel any biases, but it definitely allowed me to lay aside other people's stupidity, so to say. I mean,
Okay.
you can't really blame people for what they're conditioned to be unless they have an opportunity to, you know, branch out and grow. Then absolutely you can blame them. I mean, for me, luckily, I've had the opportunity to, like you said, travel to different places, you know, interact and learn with and teach my, you know, cultural, you know, vision, or well, not vision, but just my cultural sight from however I see it with other cultures and learn from them, you know, and not from a book. It's
Right.
like their way of life. Like, you know, I'm lucky enough to go to Japanese houses and, you know, you take your shoes off and eat, sit down at the table. The very traditional Japanese families. You know, a lot of West Indian homes where, you know, there's no shoes allowed whatsoever, and just a different, you know, different flow of things. You know, things that are accepted, things that aren't accepted. You know, um, German families, how they, you know, celebrate the things that they cook for different occasions, and who they honor for different occasions, and why. You know, South American families. I mean, it's been great. Yeah, I mean, for that, it's definitely opened my eyes up and allowed me to put aside my biases and my just direct, you know, just unwillingness to deal with
Okay.
other cultures because of my childhood experience.
Right.
And it definitely, you know, I've, you know, I guess you could say repented for my feelings towards these people that didn't, you know, clearly can't be held accountable for whatever percentage that feel this way because everybody's human. And so, you know, they didn't do it to me. The people that, you know, were there did it to me. Absolutely, I think it's helped me a lot.
Do you think like by like going and meeting people from all over the world, just seeing different cultures, that there's a similarity like in core values, or do you think that it's like your values are traditionally American? They kind
That my values are traditionally
of
American.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely. People can see me like coming from wherever. I was, you know, where was I? Just in Malaysia a couple of days ago. Just got back from, and you know, you just reek of American. Because we're such a young country, we really don't have a culture. It's just a melting pot of many different cultures. And so, I mean, and I get it because, you know, being over there and just like some of the things that as Americans are taken for granted because they're here and that you don't even think about.
Right.
And, you know, it's just, there's like, you know, there's a level of arrogance, I would say, that Americans carry about themselves. Generally speaking, this is
That's true.
that.
Yeah, I think so. I think so because I mean, like when I go back home, you can tell that there's an American around, even pretty much before they open their mouth because of the arrogance thing. But it's just I don't really take it personally. But continue.
But aren't you pretty much be considered American back home? Wouldn't you yourself? Do you
No.
say no?
Actually surprised that I'm still so. What? It's about you, man.
Oh, okay, really good.
I was just adding that, that little thing.
Jab, counter jab. That's all it was. That's all it was. You know. All right. But I mean, no. In general, there's just a lack of interest for anything outside of America. Because I mean, if you go, even people that don't have means to do like half of the things that the average family does here, they somehow manage to get out and travel in different countries. You know, at least different parts of their own country.
Right.
There's some people here that are just so, oh, I'm here. This is where I'm at. They don't even leave the borough that they're from. They don't even leave the neighborhood that they're from, let alone leave the borough or leave New York City or wherever they are. But and so that they're just locked into the mentality of wherever they are. It's a disadvantage in terms of bettering people, I guess, because they have no knowledge and they're just ignorant to a lot of things. So therefore comes the sense of arrogance because they're so like highly confident in what they know because that's all they know. That's all they care to know. So that's where they walk around. But I get along pretty well. I get along pretty well.
Okay. So, going back to your childhood, I have two more questions.
Stay away. Let's stay away.
Stay away. No, we got to go back because I have to know. So I want to know about like family traditions, like Black American family traditions. Did you what was big for you?
Big for us was definitely Thanksgiving, which now is just like, oh wow. Christmas, like I said before, we, Christian family. That's how I was raised. Just traditionally going to be with my grandmother for at least, we would go to Chicago at least, once a month, once every other month, and spend time down there. Just because, my grandmother, she was the matriarch of the family. My aunt, she lived with my aunt, my uncle, my cousin. So we have family there. A lot of family in Chicago. So we would go there just to keep that, that close bond and sense of family. And my father's family at the time lived there too. His mother, my granny, and Papa, as we call him, stayed there at the time. So we would get to do that thing too. So like we mix it. So that way there would be no distance.
Right.
We grew up as like a unit, the best we could. So that was always something big. But as far as traditions, I mean that's about it. We didn't sit down and hold hands and pray for dinner every night. There was no Sunday movie night or anything like this. No, not in my household. I know I have friends and family that have, these things that they do. It's not for me.
Did you? And so, like, the trips to Chicago, they're like family reunions kind of thing.
I guess. I mean, in a way, it was just like going to another home. We're going to Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we had clothes there. So it was just like, they had stuff at our place.
Okay.
But we made the trip to Chicago more because of my grandmother's age. It was like family reunions definitely were good. We did those too. But, just going to Chicago was just going to Chicago. Okay. Well, I'm going to Chicago this weekend.
Yay. So then, one more thing is discipline. How was the discipline as a child?
What do
you think it was like a typical Black American style of discipline, or do you think it was like?
Absolutely. I mean, but I came up a little old school.
Oh yeah.
In terms, the saying old school. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely spare the rod, spoil the child mentality. I didn't get beat or anything, but I definitely, felt the rod a few times to say, at least to put it in, good, I don't know.
Sanitized?
Yeah, right. I mean, a funny story is one time I had done something, I was like totally out of line. I was young. It's probably about 9 or 10. So I did something, I was getting on my mother's nerves. She gave me pass after pass after pass. I just kept on doing it. It was all in one day. I just kept on doing something. So she says, you know what? Go get me a Switch. You better bring me a good one, too. No, this is not a joke. This is serious. And so I said, I stormed out of the back door, angry. But then, I got this thought. I said, all right, well, I'm going to get a good Switch. If this is about to happen, I'm going to make it good. So I just, went out the back gate, went off to the park, hung out for the rest of the day, played a little basketball, a little football, ran around. Came back before the street lights came on. I did make sure that I had a very good Switch. I found a very good Switch, though. And so she says, boy, where you been? I said, I was looking for a Switch. I had to find the best one out there. And so, she couldn't help but laugh at it because she knows how I am about that kind of thing. It's like, no, I'm not just going to let her take this. You have to work for it if you're going to give it to me. And so she started laughing and told me to get in the house and go sit in my spot. Like basically sit in time. Yeah, that's what I